You mean that?
No, sir.
I mean
Put green on.
I mean this, the rooster upon the grace cup.
You still
so
said it?
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going full glam on Olivia. So as usual, we're going to start with powdering our brows. So we'll be using our airspun powder just to get the brows matte and dry. Now we'll be moving on to drawing on our brows. Now you can use anything that works for you, whether that be pomade, an eyeliner, a lip liner, anything that works for you. You just do it, boom, that's it. So we're just drawing the shape, and then we'll use our spoolie to remove any excess product that gets caught into the brow hairs. So now we'll be moving on to concealer. So we'll be using our beautiful bronze concealer from LA Girl Pro, and we'll be concealing both the bottom and the top with this shade. I wanted to use a darker shade, but we were on a time crunch and I know how to finesse it with foundation. Alright, so that's why I chose to use one shade. I know it's a bit light. We want a lighter shade underneath the bottom, but as I said, we were crunched for time, so I just did it on the top as well. Right, but we'll use foundation later on to finesse this. You'll see. And you know, whatever we do to the left hand side of the face, we have to do to the right hand side. So we'll be concealing above and below our brows, but just note guys, please, I'm asking you, use a lighter shade underneath and a shade closer to your skin tone at the top, especially if you're a beginner, because it's harder to blend out such a light shade. Look at it, right? If I had the time, trust me, I'll be going at it in a different way, of course. Alright, so please don't make my mistake. Look at it, so ashy. Now we're just filling in anywhere we see that's a little sparse, and we'll be using the spoolie to blend it out again. Now we're going to prepare our eyes for eyeshadow. So I'm using a little bit more of that beautiful bronze concealer on the eyes, and we'll be blending that out just before we add our eyeshadow. So now after adding it, we want to blend it out. We want a nice smooth flat base for our eyeshadow. Alright, so we want to blend it out. After that, I'm going to use the same powder brush I used before, just to swipe a little bit of that translucent powder that we put on the eyebrows, just a tad. Right, we want to set that concealer. Alright, now for eyeshadow, we're starting with the Morphe 3502 palette. And we're just going to, well, I just selected a random brown shade just to start off with in the crease. One that would match her, not too dark, like a mid-tone brown for her complexion. So that's what we started with. Now we'll be moving on to that brown from the Juvia's Place palette. That brown is a little bit warmer, it's more chocolatey, and I like warmer tones for the crease area. So I realized that one was too red. I wanted something more yellow, something more warm. So that's what we moved to. Now it's time to cut the crease. So I'm using my LA Girl Flat White Concealer. This is my favorite thing to use, I guess, to cut the crease. It goes on smooth, and the white allows for any color to sit on top perfectly. So I'm just creating my shape here. I realized that on this side it was a little bit easier for me to get the shape that I wanted, so you'll see me on this side more creating the shape, and then I'll come back to the left hand side to revisit the shape so that both of them look similar, congruent. Alright, so we want both sides to be even. Alright, so now we'll be using that brown from the Warrior 2 palette just to close our cut crease, and we'll be using it on both sides. So now we'll be using the pink shimmer shade from the Zulu palette. Now that is the base shade for our cut crease. I want to add glitter on top, but we have to add a shade that's close enough to our glitter so that, well, naturally, so it's a nice base to put on top, well, below our glitter. So we want a shade that's close enough to the glitter that we plan to use. And because the end part of the cut crease is a little bit darker, I wanted to use a glitter that's a little bit darker, maybe closer to brown. So I chose to use that, I guess, burgundy shade on the outer part of the cut crease. Now I realized that my cut crease wasn't sharp enough, so I decided to sharpen it with a brown. I'm not sure what brown, so sorry, but any brown will do. I guess it's the same brown from the Warrior 2 palette. Alright, so we're revisiting that shimmer shade from the Zulu palette. We're reinforcing it, but on the next side. And again, we're going to use that burgundy shade from the Wahala 2 palette, right beside the brown, right after the shimmer shade. Now we'll be using our Nyx Glitter Primer, and we'll be putting our glitter on. I got this glitter from Beauty Vault Jaii. Such a pretty glitter. I don't think the glitter has a name. I don't think the glitter has a name, but Beauty Vault Jaii has some pretty glitters. I think you guys should check them out. So we use the NYX Glitter Primer, after which we'll be using our glitter. And I think I mixed 2 glitters. So a lighter one at the front and a more burgundy one in the center. Alright, so we used our spoolie on our eyelashes, because sometimes glitter gets caught in those little hairs, so we want to brush them out. Now we're moving on to lining our eyes, and again we'll be revisiting the Warrior 2 palette just to close our cut crease. So now we're adding a glitter primer on the right hand side. Feed yourself, girl. Yes, girl, you're hot. So I'm adding the lighter glitter first. It's a pinky unicorn type glitter, and then we'll be using the burgundy one on the outside. Again, we'll be using our eyeliner. All the products used will be listed below in the description box, so you can check out all products down below. Again, we'll be using the Warrior 2, that brown from the Warrior 2, just to close the cut crease. And we'll be using our spoolie just to remove any glitter from the face. So I think this is a nice little hack, because sometimes the glitter is really hard to remove with our fingers, so you can try the spoolie. I have a nice little trick also, it's coming up soon. So right here I realized that the left hand side had less glitter than the right, so I wanted to add more glitter. So I'm using a glitter applicator from Beauty Vault JA, the same place I got the glitters. I also got the applicator. It has a nice silicone top that I think it's a perfect size for glitter application. So now we'll be moving on to adding our lashes. And you know, no look is complete without lashes, and we like these long drunker type hot girl lashes, and them I will like. So this is what we decided to use. Normally I ask my clients to squeeze them on, merge them with your lashes. Alright, so this is the hack. So in order for me to get rid of the extra glitter, I use tape. Cute, right? Now we'll be moving on to moisturizing. So I'm using the Pond's moisturizer. And we want to moisturize the whole face. Dry skin, oily skin, it doesn't matter, we have to moisturize, okay? So now we'll be moving on to our primer for today, and we'll be using our Calamine Lotion. So I just apply it to the places that should get oily, so she's pointing to me where I should apply it. So that's what I'm doing here. I see some persons putting it all over the face. I don't think that's necessary. I just think you should put it on the spots where you need it. So we'll be moving on to foundation. Now this is the Juvia's Place foundation, my favorite foundation. It's in the shade 130 Mali, and this foundation just melts into the skin like butter. And you know, we use our foundation, or we apply our foundation in sections, so we don't allow, or we don't put the foundation all over the face at once. We just put it on the sections that we plan to blend out immediately. So we lay it down and we blend it out. As we lay it down, we want to blend it out. We don't want it to dry on us. So she's showing you how beautiful her skin is without foundation. Come on, girl, have nice clean skin. Yeah, girl, show them. Alright, so we'll be blending. The key to smooth, even foundation is in the blend. So we're just adding it to the particular section, and we'll be blending that section. Adding it, blending. As we put it down, we want to blend it out. And this is the finesse that I was talking about. So remember, we use a lighter concealer on top, so I'll be using my foundation to even that out now. But be careful, you might erase your brows. So now it's time for concealer, and we'll be adding our concealer, or LA Girl Beautiful Bronze Concealer again, and we'll be adding it to the high points of the face, which is on our chin, below our eyes, on our forehead, and a little bit on the nose. But we'll get to the nose pretty soon. So sis is feeling herself as usual, nothing new. So today we'll be blending out our concealer with a sponge. So we're just blending out that concealer everywhere we laid it down. And we want to take our time to blend that area as seamlessly as possible. Don't worry about the edges right now. We'll be dealing with the edges later. So we're using a lighter concealer just above the lip and on, you guessed it, the nose. I think I mixed the the Camo Concealer with the Beautiful Bronze, and we'll be using our sponge again to blend that out. We want a seamless blend. We're not worrying about the edges right now. We just want a seamless blend, and we'll be using a little bit of that concealer just below the cheekbone area. Now for my dark skin girls, we don't need to contour, we can reverse contour, and this is what I mean by reverse contouring. We can brighten up just below our cheekbones just to bring them out some more. Look at that, snatched up. But whenever we add that concealer just below our cheekbones, we want to blend it out until there's no tomorrow. Alright, so we left the concealer on the nose for the last. So we want to blend that out. This part is optional. I wanted the forehead to stand out a little bit more, so we'll be using a little bit on the forehead. So now we'll be blending out the edges. So we're going to take our foundation brush just to blend out all the harsh lines given when we had the sponge and the concealer. So we'll be moving back and forth between the sponge and the brush. So now it's time for contouring. So I'm going to use my Congo shade stick from Juvia's Place, and we'll be adding that to the cheekbones. And this one is pigmented, so just a little goes a very long way. We'll be taking our, what kind of brush is this? I normally use this brush for bronzer, but we're just going to use this brush to blend out the contour. Oh, it's my contour brush. Yes, so we'll be using our contour brush just to blend out that contour. So now it's time to set the face with powder. So we're going to take our Sacha Pro powder palette, and I'll be using that shade highlighted there, and we'll be taking a very small brush. This is an eyeshadow brush. It's fluffy, so we're just going to take that brush to use that brush, sorry, to apply the powder. And the powder is close. The powder is actually close enough to the concealer that we used before. So everywhere we highlighted, we'll be using the powder. Now it's time for setting the contour. Now we're going to take the darkest shade in the Pro Powder palette, and we'll be moving that down the neck also. So now it's time for contouring. I took a mixture of shades from this palette. It's the Saharan Volume 1 blush palette. Now we'll be contouring the nose. Yes, girl. We know it, man. You're hot. You sell off, girl. So now we'll be moving on to one of my favorite parts. We're now going to put we're now introducing a color into our waterline. So I take my powder brush, I bring the eye down so it reveals the waterline, and we'll be adding this light blue shade in our waterline. Then we'll be moving on to a forest green, just to give us a gradient effect. So we're moving back and forth between the forest green and the light blue. So whatever we do to the left, we want to do it to the right. Starting with the light blue, we'll be adding that to the waterline, and then we'll be moving on to the forest green. So I'm using a tiny tweezer just to remove any chunks of glitter I see around the face. Alright, so we'll be using a blue or teal shimmer shade in the inner corners, just to bring that blue shade out some more and to tie the whole look together. Alright, so right here I sprayed some setting spray in my beauty blender, and then we're going to pounce that into the face. This is going so fast. Now we're moving on to our highlights. I like to highlight the nose just a tiny bit. This is the Royal Hotness highlighter from Dose of Colors. It's my favorite currently. And we'll be highlighting the cheeks just a little bit. Alright, so we're just going to take any random brown pencil that we find, and we're just going to use that brown pencil to line our lips. Normally I like my clients to smile. It allows for me to apply the lip liner a little better. Now I'm going to use the Madeline NYX Butter Gloss on her lips. Now we're going to use our lip liner again just to clean that up, and we'll be following that up with clear gloss. Alright, so she's cute or whatever. Yeah. So it's time for finishing touches. You know, we got to get the hair right. We're going to add a little mascara, and then our girl is good to go.
And take a party, but the whole of people them come from friend and then about that way. So, I should be said that about your face, girl, when I come back.
Alright guys, so this is the end of the video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.